I'm back in the garage. I'm making another video. This is how I left my Amiga 2000 set up last time, and to keep the dust off of it, even though it's only been about a week, a little over a week since I made my last video, this atmosphere here in New Mexico would make this pretty bad. So this is what it looks like. I was going to actually start off this video and show an Amiga 1200, but it's going to be a little different. So let me take off the plastic and we'll get started. This Amiga is now set up to boot up in RGB mode. Nothing is different from the last time I set up my Amiga on my last video when I first booted this system up. It boots just fine. It's got 1 meg of RAM, all chip RAM, no fast RAM. It's got a 40 megabyte hard drive, nothing special. I want to just show my friend and buddy who seemed pretty disappointed when he cleaned up his Amiga 2000 and then booted it up with his 030 accelerator and stuff. And he seemed kind of at a loss, at least a little bit, about what he should do next. And I'm going to give him some tidbits on maybe what he can look for. So in my next video, maybe then I'll cover the Amiga 1200 that I have. That's a stock machine. Okay, this is my Amiga 2000, and it is running, it's already booted, haven't done anything with it. It's running in analog RGB, and I've got a cable connected to a 1080 monitor. And my friend was trying to hook it up to a his like VGA monitor, a flat screen version, which obviously you can do. He has a retargetable graphics card, so an RTG is how we used to do it. And he has some extra stuff in his system as well. And I think he needs to be able to take all that stuff out of there, including his Mega chip, which is what gives him 2 megabytes of chip RAM. Just break it down to the bare bones system. And I'm going to do a little something here to show him what he might be able to do. So obviously this is in color, even though you can't tell because it's in black and white. Well, I guess the pointer is in red. So I have my system set up so that it is also set up through the composite. And if I now convert, I'm switching the switch here so it's going to be in monochrome mode. So it is actually, the picture looks pretty crummy because it's monochrome compared to RGB, but it gives you something, and you can at least see if you're getting output. And I've mentioned this before, and I still don't understand why they ever would have given an Amiga a monochrome output. Please, Commodore, call me today and let me know what you were thinking back then. So the picture's not that clear. It's not expected to be. It's composite. I mean, you want to have something in a higher resolution. But Quinn, if you can get something, you just hook this up to a regular TV and you'll have composite, and then you can troubleshoot from there. So give that a try. I'm actually curious to see what I get if, like Quinn, I just boot up without anything inside my machine. So let's try that out, because I want to show Quinn what he'll see. Okay, this is my Amiga set up a little bit differently now. I just have a regular 14-inch Toshiba TV, not a monitor, hooked up to my mono out on my Amiga. This is still got my hard drive installed, but I'm going to boot it up so you can check it out and see what it does. It's going to act just like normal. The TV is not going to have a very clear picture, as I showed earlier. It's composite only and it's monochrome, but you'll see that it works. So anyone who's doing this test doesn't need anything specific. You can actually use a flat screen modern TV if it has composite input, and it might. So, you know, it's interesting. I'm looking at this picture. I get a clearer picture on this TV probably because it's newer than I do on my actual 1080 monitor from Commodore. Well, that's that. I'm now going to show me taking and unhooking the disk drive and my other components in there, like the hard drive card, and we'll see what we get after that. Shutting off now. Okay, this is the inside of my Amiga. I've shown this once before. This is a Rev 6.2 motherboard. It's quite possible I might bump into the camera while I'm recording this. But what I'm going to do first is I've got my trusty screwdriver. So I'm going to remove the card that hooks it up to the what am I talking about here? I'm going to hook up remove the card that hooks it up to the Amiga so I don't have the hard drive installed anymore. And technically, this most people recommend taking this and putting it here and not actually mounting the hard drive to the card, but in this case it doesn't matter to me because I'm only doing this with hardly anything in the system. So I'm going to just pull it up from the back here. Comes up very easily. slide it out and take it aside. I'm going to remove the LED cable as well. In this case, I think I'll just remove it from the actual card. Keep an orientation on how it was in. So that's that. So that's the one thing out of there. And the other thing that I'm going to take out now is I'm not actually going to remove this, but I'm going to unplug it, which is what I recommend that Quinn does. And I mean unplug the cable and everything. So I'm going to unplug the cable and the power. So when the system boots up next time, it is going to boot up without any peripherals whatsoever. Quinn underneath here has his fat Agnes hooked up to 2 megabytes of RAM, and I recommend he remove that. And I don't think he has anything else, but if he does, remove all that stuff and just have it hooked up to composite. Okay, let's see what happens when I boot it up now. I think since I have the ROM 3.1, it's going to ask me to insert a disk. Let's check it out. We are now ready to boot my Amiga without a disk drive installed, without a hard drive installed, and it has just 1 meg of chip RAM, and that is it. My Amiga 2000. It's pretty bare minimum. It's hooked up to a Toshiba TV. It's a 14-inch. This TV was made in about 2005, so it's 20 years newer than the Amiga monitor. All right, I haven't even tried this, so let's see what happens. Turning it on. See if we get a picture over there. I might have to use the remote to... Oh, it'd be helpful if I turn on the TV. So let's do that. TV's got to be on, of course. See if we get a little disc that's saying to insert. Yes, we are. And so this is what I would expect Quinn would be getting. So, bud, if you can see this, and I think you have the 3.1 ROM, I think at some point you installed the 3.5 OS from a CD, I think, onto your hard drive, but you would still be using the 3.1 ROM if I think correctly. So let me, I can't install a floppy disk into here because I don't have a clean floppy, but I do have something that is worth noting. I bought this. And I'm going to try to clean up my disk drive sometime in the next few days and boot from floppy. Alright, I'm going to do a close-up of the screen because I think it's kind of neat looking. It looks better than I expected on this TV. Right, this will be the last time I show this. Maybe I'll show my system put back together. Okay, I've turned down the lights a little bit, closed the garage door. This is the monochrome output of my Amiga 2000 on my TV. I'm going to shut it off and reboot it. There's no disk drives or hard drives hooked up. Let's turn it off. I'm going to wait about 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Boot it up. Let's see how long it takes to get to the ROM. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, buddy, Quinn, if you can see this in about 15 seconds or so after you turn on your computer, you should be golden. And hopefully you don't have a problem with your CPU or anything like that, because that's probably some major repairs. Okay. You know, it's been too long since I've used an Amiga. I actually decided I was going to open this up, and I did. Oh, by the way, you can notice that I put my system back together, and I have my 1080 monitor hooked up, and I've been using that TV, and while it worked, man, once you go back to using a monitor, it is crystal clear. We're spoilt by the technology. Anyway, I cleaned up my floppy drive. It was kind of dusty and bad in there, and I don't remember the last time I even used the floppy drive, but I cleaned it up, tried to format a disk, it failed. I took one of my PC disks and tried to format it. It actually crashed PC or cross-DOS, which is, I kind of remember actually being a problem because the version of cross-DOS that comes with Workbench 3.1 is it has some issues with Windows disks, and so it would crash. And if you bought cross-DOS, whatever the last version of it was, cross-DOS 7, it fixed those problems. But I was just trying to use the one that came with Workbench. I actually forgot how to make a Workbench disk. I think you have to copy them. I did manage to actually finally get a disk to format, which is nice. I called it test disk. Took the third disk. The first disk, it died on track 0. One of them almost formatted all the way. And then it said there was no disk in the drive, which I don't remember being a problem on the Amiga. I mean, the floppy drive probably had some issues, which is, at first I was kind of annoyed by that, but I'm like, doesn't matter. I mean, what am I going to use the floppy drives for? I mean, I could try to format disks and move files back and forth if I use a new version of cross-DOS, but I'm not going to really do that. I might play games from disk if I have some games, but who knows if they work. See, it's acting weird, like I just inserted the disk. I don't know if you can hear it. Yeah, so there's some issues with this. But I'm going to try to boot from a game and see what happens. It's probably going to fail, which is fine. But that's okay. This is all an experiment, and I wanted to show Quinn that he's not the only one who's having issues with the computer. Yeah, it's acting unusual. Yeah, see, it keeps thinking a disk is being inserted. In fact, if anyone out there knows what would cause the floppy disk to think that the floppy drive just keeps having a disk inserted and taken out, let me know. Comments below, you know the drill.